The Patrick Kane sweepstakes have finally come to an end, with the Detroit Red Wings coming out as the benefactors. It's going to be very interesting to see Kane and Debrincat reunite after the magic they produced together back in their Hawks days. But I want to make this video to temper, for lack of better words, the expectations on Kane's return to the NHL. His addition to the Wings lineup absolutely bolsters their forward group on paper. But I think it's important to remember that if history holds true, the Patrick Kane that the Wings will be getting isn't the same Patrick Kane that was putting up point-per-game seasons as recently as 1 season ago. And that's because of the injury that kept him out of hockey for the last 6 months or so. Kane went through a procedure known as hip resurfacing, which in simple terms replaces the diseased parts of the hip joint and replaces them with new, artificial parts. The problem is that as far as we know, for every player that has undergone this procedure, none have returned as the same player they were before the procedure. And what's even more worrying is that none have even been able to stay in the league for an extended period after returning from surgery. Let's run through the most well-known players who have undergone this procedure and see how they fared in their returns. Ed Jovanovski underwent the procedure in 2013 and returned after a long rehabilitation process in the following season. But his return only lasted 37 games, as he would struggle to find his game and would eventually go on to retire from the league at the age of 37. Ryan Kesler underwent the procedure in 2019 and unfortunately never played another game. Thankfully, he seems like he's living as normal a life as you can after going through 2 hip resurfacing injuries. But his body was nowhere near what it needed to be for how physically demanding hockey is. He retired at the age of 34. Mike Sillinger is another case of players who had the surgery and were never able to return to the ice again. Sillinger underwent the procedure in 2009 and eventually announced his retirement later that same year. He really put what it means to play with a hip resurfacing procedure into perspective for me when he said, "If I continue playing, best case scenario, I sneak through another year. Worst case scenario, I'm having a hip replacement before I'm 40. That really speaks volumes to how difficult it is to recover and return to being a professional athlete in one of the most physically demanding leagues in the world. The most recent example of players returning from hip resurfacing is Nicklas Backstrom, who underwent the surgery in 2022 and returned for the last half of the season last year. After what seemed like a promising offseason this year, where all signs pointed to him being fully healthy, he was unfortunately shut down just 8 games into the season, and if I'm being honest, it seems like it's the end for Backstrom's career in the NHL, which is a shame since I would have loved to see Ovi break the goal-scoring record on a goal assisted by his longtime buddy in Nick Backstrom. And that brings us to present day and Patrick Kane's imminent return to an NHL lineup. For a player who has dominated the 2010s with his skating and his hands, I do wonder how he'll fare in his return. He still looked like a very capable player as recent as the playoff run for the Rangers last season, where he put up 6 points in 7 games. I hope he's able to return and produce at a rate we've all gotten used to from a guy like Kane. But I would temper my expectations if I'm a Wings fan, given the history of players returning from this procedure. Either way, I would love nothing else but for Kane to be fully healthy and return to being Showtime with his longtime partner in Alex Debrincat. What are your expectations from Kane for the rest of the season? Let me know what you think in the comments below. I hope you subscribe to this channel if you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.